Get there. Get there. Welcome back to our 10th episode of
Holy
Raised
cow.
on Sports. We finally hit double digits, Dad. I'm
Nice.
Reagan, the daughter of this father-daughter podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jason, and holy cow, 10 episodes. Just seems like the other day we started this thing. So
I know. I feel like we've
love
been
it.
getting better and better each week, and it's been fun. I love it.
It's been a blast. I look forward to it. I have friends that look forward to it. I got a text from my good buddy today, Seth Gilmore, saying, "When's the next episode? I need to hear about college football." So
Oh,
shout out to you, Seth. And yeah, it's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue it into 2025. We're not stopping anytime soon. So, we do have to talk about college football. Thanks, Seth Gilmore. But first, how was your week, Dad? What's new? Tell me.
Week is good. Week was really busy. Lots going on at the house. Right in the middle of basketball. Our basketball team won a tournament this past weekend, which was fantastic. Really happy for the boys. We put up Christmas lights this weekend.
You haven't showed me yet.
No, we haven't done light that house yet.
Like that what?
Maybe tonight. We'll get you guys on FaceTime and we will light that house.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's been busy. We've been very busy. Your sister had a fun, exciting weekend with Dancing with the Titans. So maybe we can talk about that in a little bit because that was awesome. But yeah, it's fun. It's a crazy time getting ready for the holidays. How about you?
Kind of same with you. Super, super busy. I am getting sick. I don't know if you can hear my voice. I'm probably 4 octaves lower. So I've just been crazy this last weekend. I actually went to the Clemson ACC championship game, which we will talk about that later. But that was the best day of my life, I like to say.
And you're officially done, right, with school?
Yes, well, kind of. It's finals week for everyone. I don't have any finals. Well, actually, I took one final today, but it was on my computer, like at home. And then I have 4 final projects due on Wednesday. So I'm kind of just working on those and getting those finished up. But I am done going to class, which
Awesome.
is crazy that this semester went by so freaking fast. I can't even deal. But it's been good. It's been a good week.
Good.
I'm excited to come home. And I come home a week from today.
Our next podcast will be together.
Yes, that is fun. So kind of to go back to what I just said about the ACC championship, we need to talk college football because the season's basically over.
Yep.
Playoffs are about to begin,
Yep.
and we've been talking about who's going to be in the playoffs, for the last probably 7 weeks since we started this podcast.
Sure.
And they finally came out.
Now we know.
But let's recap the games.
Yes, we had some amazing championship games this weekend. Started off on Friday night with the Mountain West Championship, Boise State and UNLV, being a home game in Boise. And both of us, of course, picked Boise in our pick. But it was a great championship game. Ashton Jeanty led everybody with another 200-yard game. Fans stormed the field.
Yep.
They carried the goalpost out of the stadium, dumped it into the river.
And it was freezing. It was like
freezing,
15 degrees or something.
I had a good story to share. My best friend, Rob Adams, his son, Tyler, is at Boise, and he was at that game. And they woke up the next morning with a piece of the goalpost in their backyard of their fraternity house. So they were chopping it up and giving everybody a little piece of the goalpost. So I thought that was really cool.
I love that, especially just because Boise is such that underdog. No one's really known or thought about Boise in the college football playoffs or the college football in general in so long. And Ashton Jeanty really turned that around for them this year. He is incredible running back, the best in the nation. And
it was really fun to see him come back because he was he could have probably gone pro last year, but he decided to return for one more year. And oh boy, did not disappoint.
No, not at all. So I'm excited to see what he does in the playoffs. But next, the next championship game we have to talk about is the Big 12 ASU versus Iowa State. This was another blowout of a game. I picked ASU, correct, Dad?
Yes, and I picked Iowa State, so you got one on me there.
Yeah, I did. It was, what was the score? 45-19.
Yep.
And again, they were very strong. They have
Yeah.
another maybe Heisman contender, which is interesting.
Yeah, it was funny that he came out and announced Scadaboo, who we're talking
Yeah.
about from Arizona State. Great name, by the way. Came out and said he is the best running back in college football and even posed for the Heisman. But hey, let him have some fun. I don't know if he's going to get invited to the Heisman ceremony, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, Arizona State just manhandled Iowa State and
I know.
deserved a spot in the playoffs and a first round bye, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But good job, Arizona State. Real happy for them,
Mhm.
and fantastic job. Love their
Yeah.
coach too. Oh, love their coach.
Totally. All right, next we have the SEC championship,
Okay.
which was crazy. I was watching this game while driving up to Charlotte to watch the ACC championship, and what a game. It was very low scoring to start off with.
Yes.
Like at half, it was only field goals. No one had
Yep.
scored a touchdown yet. And it was just very close the entire game. Actually went to overtime, but I didn't get to watch
Again for
the
Georgia.
overtime because I was at the ACC championship. We didn't have any service on our phones,
Oh,
so that was incredible. I watched all the highlights from it, and did we both pick Texas? I think.
we both picked Texas. Yeah.
Okay, it's
Should have
Georgia
known
needed
better.
that win
Should
for
have known
sure.
better on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So what's your
Georgia just came in and just really looked like the better team. Although it was kind of ugly for a half. Georgia quarterback getting knocked out right before
Oh
half.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Big injury. So, some serious issues to talk about going forward. And then their backup came in, played really well in the second half, but he got knocked out right at the end. The helmet flying off, got concussed. So the starting quarterback came in to run the last play of the game with his arm dangling down to his side and handed off, and they ran in a touchdown for the win. So Georgia wins the SEC championship. Both teams made the playoffs, of course, but
Mhm.
yeah, should be interesting. Some good stories going forward with those guys.
I know they needed Carson Beck to come back, the starting quarterback to come back and finish off that play, and he did exactly what he was meant to do.
Hmm.
And I don't like Georgia, just because I don't like Georgia.
Sure.
But they needed that win because they would have been maybe on the cusp of getting into the
Yeah.
playoffs if they lost, because that would make 3 losses for them, kind of like how Bama was on the cusp.
Yep.
But so they needed that win, and I think that was a good win by them, and like you said, they looked like the better team. They were stronger,
They did.
for sure.
They did.
The next championship was the Oregon versus Penn State,
Yep. The Big Ten.
the Big Ten championship. Oregon dominated. Now they're 12-0,
Yep.
right?
Number
12-0.
one seed. Yep.
They deserve it.
Yeah,
They're undefeated.
they won 45-37. High scoring game, lots of points, but it never although the score was close, I don't think it ever really was it felt like it was in doubt for Oregon. They just kind of were able to score and do whatever they wanted offensively. A couple late turnovers by Penn State caused that. So just a great overall effort by Oregon. They go undefeated. How about two former Pac-12 teams, Oregon
Yeah.
and Arizona State, now winning their championships
Yeah.
and in the playoffs? That's awesome. In different
That's so
conferences,
awesome.
right?
I'm happy for them. I think Oregon for sure deserves it. Arizona State is kind of that underdog, just like Boise. And it's so interesting with the 12-team playoffs now that a team like Arizona State has never been on the playoffs ever in history
Yep.
is now in the playoffs.
Now that they can get in, right?
Exactly. And finally, we
Was
do.
there any other game to talk about?
Yes, we do. The ACC championship. Everyone wanted Clemson to lose this game,
Yes.
because that would open up an extra spot in that 12-team playoff for Miami, South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss. Who else am I thinking?
Maybe you said South. Yeah, that's about it. That's still
Okay.
a lot of teams.
Yeah, that is about 5 people that wanted Clemson to lose badly. But this game was so much fun. We were there. We were in like the front row. It was the energy. We were around all of the players' families. We had a huge lead at half, which slowly kind of dwindled throughout the second half, leading to a game-ending field goal
Yeah.
that was 56 yards. And he just kicked it. He was so confident. I know you sent me a little meme of him winking at
How
the
great was that?
sideline. He's like, "Guys, I got this. Like,
Yeah.
don't even question," because SMU was trying to ice him out. But he's like, "Nah, I got this." He kicked it. He probably could have gone 60 yards. It was so fun. If
Uh,
only we could rush the field. It was like way too high of a stadium
yeah.
to like
Yeah.
jump over the fence, but it was incredible.
Awesome. Well, I'm so, so happy. So glad you got to experience that. Don't you have a clip to possibly show us?
Oh yeah, I could put it in here.
All right. Check this out.
Get there, get there.
But I'm glad that SMU also is in because they deserve to be in the playoffs
Yes.
because they made it to a championship, a conference
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah. We'll talk about the playoffs here in just a little bit. But yeah, so happy for Clemson.
Yeah.
Just a great game. One of their better games they played all year. I said going in that Cade Klubnik had to have the game of his life, had to play at an extreme high level. And boy, did he ever.
Mhm.
He was the first ACC quarterback to throw 3 touchdowns in a quarter in a championship game. And there's been some really good ACC quarterbacks. So that was awesome to see. And
Mhm.
lots of credit to SMU for coming back and fighting in the second half, not giving up, not quitting, and made it a game. And you thought when they scored the touchdown, okay, here we go, overtime.
Uh-huh.
But a great kickoff return, a
And not
fantastic.
the returner, the kickoff return, he was a third string.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think Antonio Williams was out or I don't know the whole
Right.
play, but I know
Right.
he was a third string, and because of his return, his run
Oh,
was the
yeah.
reason we got to kick that field goal.
Absolutely. Set them up in a great spot
Mhm.
and then a great play call by Dabo. And it got them in position with 3 seconds left. And that's all you want. That's all you want in those
Exactly.
games, just a chance. So if he makes it, win, fantastic. If he doesn't, well, you're going to overtime. So uh,
It it was
great.
so fu and I was surprised how many SMU fans were there. It was
Oh,
completely half and half. I don't know if I told you this, but there were
yeah.
so many SMU fans there, and obviously I was on the Clemson side, which was so electric when we won. It was
Oh,
incredible, just insane. You can see from that video, I was losing my mind.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it was surprising how many SMU fans it made it a great game. The energy in the stadium was so fun, and I'm so glad I went to that game.
Oh, I'm happy that you got to experience. I called it your college moment. There it
Yeah,
was.
I've been
There it
talking about it
was.
for the last couple of weeks.
So here we go now. We have officially announced our 12-team playoffs with our top 4 seeds getting a bye in
Yeah.
number 1, Oregon, number 2, Georgia, number 3, Boise, and number 4, Arizona State, all receiving a first-round bye. What do you think about those? Is that the right those four
I
right
think
teams?
that's completely correct. Of course, as a Clemson fan, I wanted Clemson to get a bye, but I don't think they deserved it. I think if they beat South Carolina 2 weeks ago, they would have 100% got one of those byes. I
Yeah.
think over ASU. I think Boise deserves a bye 100%, but I think that's correct.
Yeah.
100, yeah.
Okay,
I
good. I do too. I think they
agree.
got the 4 seeds right. And then we had our so-called 5th conference champion, Clemson. They get in, and then our 7 other at-large teams. So we had number 5 Texas, number 6 Penn State, number 7
Mhm,
Notre Dame,
mhm.
number 8 Ohio State, number 9 Tennessee, number 10 Indiana, and 11 SMU. So really happy about that. What do you think? What do you think about the matchups and the seedings?
All right, and we still have to do our picks for these
Yeah, I
games.
know. I know. I can't wait.
Um, so again, as a Clemson fan, I was a little disappointed to see that Texas was at number 5 because they're a really good team.
They're good.
And do you see Cade Klubnik? He's from Texas,
Yes,
Austin.
hometown. Yep.
And so he's gonna go to his hometown and play against Quinn Ewers. Oof, it's gonna be a hard game.
That's gonna be a hard one game. And
Actually, Dad,
I
I
think
have
he's
some
gonna
tickets if we wanna go.
Really?
Yeah. Sit on that for a second.
All right, I will.
No, but I
Uh,
think it's gonna be a really hard game for Clemson. I wish it was switched where Penn State was at number 5 and Texas was at number 6 because I think Clemson had a much better chance of beating Penn State than Texas.
okay.
But you never know. With this college football season, you never know.
I do think the one thing when I look back at the playoffs is that I do think that the committee needs to make some adjustments next year because it's just skewed a little bit. They definitely got the teams right, but I just don't think that the number 1 seed Oregon to me, just on paper, looks like they have the most difficult draw. You're playing the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee,
Tennessee,
which will
yeah.
just be a phenomenal game in itself. So you got the winner of that
Uh-huh.
in the just in the quarterfinals alone. So a very difficult path for the number 1 seed. Whereas you got a team like Texas, who's the 5 seed, gets a home game against Clemson, which we'll be cheering for Clemson, but they'll
Yeah.
definitely be favored. And then they have a playing game to Arizona State,
Yeah, which they could
which
beat.
isn't which they could beat, just if you're just going off of how the rankings have been all year. So
Yeah.
whether it's reseeding, maybe you reseed, I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
I'm happy they have a 12-team playoff. I just think it needs some adjusting.
I agree, and then we have, like, SMU, who I think can beat Penn State. I don't know if I'm just think Penn State's worse than they actually are,
Mhm.
but they just lost the ACC championship to us, and we played Texas. Then SMU goes and plays Penn State and can easily get to the quarterfinals
Mhm.
to play Boise,
Yep.
right? Boise?
Yeah, it'd be Boise. So I mean, yeah,
So,
again, it's
another easier game than number 1 seed Oregon or these big SEC teams.
yes, true. So I just think it's just a little flaw, and hopefully
Mhm.
they'll get things fixed out
Mhm.
next year. But again, I'm just glad to have it. How about Ohio State, Tennessee? What do you think of that matchup?
That's gonna be fun. I had my friend from Tennessee texting me saying, "This is gonna be a game. Like,
Yes.
this will be probably the game of the season." I think this is a very equal matchup,
Yes.
and I'm really interested to see who's gonna win or who's gonna look dominant
Yeah.
in the game.
I thought it was real funny to hear Kirk Herbstreit say, if I was an Ohio State fan, I was hoping to be on the road and not have a home game because
Why?
as soon as they get to their first punting situation, go 3 and out and have to punt, the crowd's going to turn on them and boo. So I thought that was pretty funny
That
from
is
him
funny.
being an Ohio State grad as well. So I think this game's going to be amazing. I mean, we'll do our picks and more in-depth talk next week about it, but that one I'm really looking forward to. Of course, Indiana, Notre Dame. I just got notification from Notre Dame that the game is officially sold out.
Uh, well,
Yep.
that's like it's not a rivalry, but it's in-state.
In state. I think
In-state.
that's a big thing. Yeah, they haven't played since early 2000s.
That's crazy.
All right. So it'll be cold. It's actually the Friday night game.
Ooh,
So
I
on the
like that.
20th, right? It'll be the only game being played that day. So that'll be fun. And
Mhm.
then, and then we kind of touched on it. Our final game, SMU Penn State.
Yeah, I think they're all gonna be good games. Like I said, we'll do our picks next week, but I think the Ohio State Tennessee game is what everyone's looking forward to. Obviously, I'm rooting for Notre Dame and Clemson, so we'll just have to wait and see. That's this week? No, next
2
week.
weeks. 2 weeks. Yep.
So what are we gonna do on Saturday, Dad?
I know.
There's
It's
nothing
gonna be
to
it's
do.
gonna be it's gonna be a down weekend for sure. So
Yeah.
I tell you what will be on Saturday though
What?
is the announcement of the Heisman Trophy. So instead of
Oh,
doing football picks, how about we
wait.
make a Heisman Trophy pick?
Let's think.
Well, we know we're going to have Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty for sure.
Yeah.
Usually they invite 4, possibly 5. So you might have Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, quarterback from Oregon
Okay,
out
yeah.
there. The
A lot of people
Miami
are saying Cam Ward
Cam
from
Ward, the
Miami.
Miami quarterback, could be another. Yep. So it'll be interesting. I think today the nominations get announced.
Mhm.
But if you had to pick right now, let's do a pick,
Uh-huh.
and we'll add it to our picks up here. By the way, you caught me a little bit.
I know, I did.
I know only a 3-game lead on. Who's your pick right now? If you have to pick for the Heisman,
I would pick Ashton Genty.
yeah,
I think I've said this throughout this podcast, throughout the couple weeks. He is that underdog that thrived throughout this entire season,
Yeah.
continued to show his success, continued to show how good he is, that he is the number one running back in the nation. And I don't think anyone would doubt that.
Yeah.
He brought Boise up from nothing to now third
Right.
in the country.
Yep.
So, or like the number 3 slot.
Mhm.
I think he deserves to win. I also don't really like Travis Hunter. I think he's a cocky mofo. Always
All
hitting
right.
the Heisman pose after he scores.
Yep.
And I just don't like him. I think he needs to be humbled. So I think Ashton Jeanty. What about you?
All right. Yeah, I mean, for the sentimental reasons, yes, I definitely love Ashton and would pick him as well. But I also think this. I think it meant a lot for Ashton Jeanty playing in a championship game. He got an extra game. He got to showcase his ability on a big stage, a championship game in front of, fans, obviously, but then nationally televised and put up a 200-yard game. It wasn't like it was just a dud. He was phenomenal, had a 75-yard touchdown run. But I think you just put the stats down. This is a guy who has a chance at breaking the all-time leading rushing record of Eric Dickerson with one more game. So I think it's an absolute no-brainer that it's Ashton Jeanty to win the Heisman.
No-brainer.
And unfortunately, all the pollsters and everybody who gets a vote thinks otherwise and buys into the hype of Colorado. And yes, Travis Hunter is a fantastic two-way player, plays defense and offense, and has the stats to back it up. But I just don't see how you can pass up on a guy that could be one of the greatest running backs of all time. When we're done talking about it at the college level, if you have the college record, I mean, you're talked about. So
yeah, and I'm interested to see how he plays now in the college football playoffs.
Yes,
against these big SEC teams, because yes, he plays amazing, but he is still in that Mountain West Conference.
Sure.
And the hardest game he played was UNLV.
Yeah, competition wasn't the best. I mean, they did play Oregon early
and lost.
Early in the year, yep, and lost. But no, you're right. It'll be good to see him compete against some of the proclaimed bigger powerhouses.
It'll be Penn State SMU will play Boise.
Correct.
Okay, so it'll be good to see them play up against either of them.
Either one, yeah, either one.
So it'll be interesting. I do think he's going to win. But that comes out on Saturday, so we'll recap that when we come back on Monday.
Sounds good.
But Dad, it was all college football today. Is that all we got today?
There might be a little college basketball. I heard there was a pretty big game in Clemson.
How could I forget? It was a week for Clemson and our athletics because we beat. I keep saying
number 4.
Like I'm on the basketball.
Like you're on the team.
Yeah, I mean I am. No. Clemson beat number 4 Kentucky at home, and I wish I was there. I don't know what I was doing that night, but I was not there. It was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it was insane. All the students stormed the court at the end of the game. You probably saw it all over.
I watched it on TV. Yep.
But it was a good game, and it was tied for or like very close.
Very close all the way to the end.
Game.
Yep.
So that was surprising. Now they're ranked, I think, 16th.
Oh, good.
So they're on route to be good, but you never know.
Yeah, that was the ACC SEC challenge where all the ACC teams played SEC teams, and the ACC won 2 of the, I think it was 10 games. Yeah, ACC was 2-8, but their 2 wins, Clemson and Duke.
Oh, okay. Well, Duke's incredible. So if we're stacked up against or next to Duke, I'll take it.
You'll take it.
And I think this is going to be a good year for basketball. Their chemistry on the team is really interesting to watch because there's a lot of new players. So I've actually watched all the games from the first game to now, how they played against Kentucky. The first team, they didn't have that chemistry like they do now. It was a little awkward and a little weird. They still won, but they were playing, I don't even know the team.
Well, and the good thing is it's only going to get better because we're still early December and there's a long way to go. So,
That's the thing about basketball is like you never know. We're at 16th place right now, but that means nothing.
It means nothing.
So
But
we have a long, long ways to go.
and we'll get lots more into college basketball come January time too. So
Yes, sir. When we're back in 2025.
well, I think you're probably need to start packing here probably pretty soon,
I
right? Coming home
know.
this weekend.
I got shit to do. I gotta
All right.
go, Dad.
That sounds good.
All right. It was a great podcast here on Raised on
Great
Sports. I
catching
hope you
up.
have a great rest of your week, Dad.
You
I'm
too,
Reagan.
Gags. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.